So this might fall on deaf ears. And first and foremost, like, I'm not saying I know everything, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but this has just kind of been on my heart recently. And so we're just going to kind of talk about it. Basically, I'm going to talk about it. But anyways, I have seen a common theme in the last, can't even tell you however many years of my life, how normal, and I wish it wasn't, but it is, and maybe not normal, but like common it is to have a child with your potential boyfriend or girlfriend that, you know, you're not married to. Therefore, we're just like failing the system because it's breaking down the family, because the foundation that is laid is not strong if you're not married prior to having a kid. And I understand, like, marriage now has been, people don't talk about it in like a good light, and that is so sad to me because marriage is so beautiful and it's so important and it's so honoring, and it's so, I mean, it's a covenant. It's a holy covenant with each other, and it's a commitment. It's not like this pass fail type of thing. It's forever. I mean, it's supposed to be. And it's sad that, you know, divorce is kind of, you know, it's a cop out. You know, like, people are like, oh yeah, we're married, and then first thing, something kind of hard or something uncomfortable, or, you know, you get mad at each other. I mean, it's two imperfect people getting married. Like, you're gonna have some issues. You're gonna have some things that are really, really hard, and it's gonna be hard. But the beauty of it is that you get to together, committed, knowing that we aren't gonna fail. Like, we're gonna make it through this, and we're gonna work through this. You grow, you learn, you mature, and it's so beautiful, and it's so amazing. And you learn so much about yourself. In my case, I learned a lot of things that humbled me so much, but things that I needed to work on, things that I desire now to get better at, and I didn't know before, and vice versa with my husband. And, you know, it's just sad that that's not what's talked about. You know, it is possible to be married, wait to have sex before, like, until after you're married. You wait, save yourself. So you're both have saved yourself for each other, and have kids after you get married, and be joyful, to have a joyful marriage, committed to each other. It's possible. It's not this like fairy tale thing. It's real. And, you know, when you have that, then you're able to lay that firm foundation for your kids that you raise together. And you show that husband and wife, man and woman, we're in this together, and we're going to raise our kids. And that's where you get kids that are raised up with, you know, love, with discipline that is actually loving, with tough love, which also leads to respect, which also leads to self-discipline. If a child gets disciplined, they're going to figure out how to self-discipline themselves to not get in trouble again. Therefore, leading them to success in the future, in their life outside of the home, where they can make decisions, make correct decisions, and be successful. And it all starts at the beginning. if we skip over marriage and we just date and decide to have a child already, and or move in together, that's a typical thing. And I think a lot of times we kind of just we shrug it off like, oh yeah, that's normal. We got to test it out, see if we can live together now, then we'll get married. And but we got to test it out. Come on. What you're supposed to do is get married and then moving together and experience that together as a married couple. That is not that their first result or their first resort is to get divorced. Get married, live together, and learn about each other at the same time, at the same pace, while married. When we go and we skip marriage and we just live together, start living together, and have a kid, act like a married couple. That's essentially, you're essentially acting like a married couple, but you're not. And it's because nobody wants to commit, especially when it gets hard. They want to be able to get out of it. Why? It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. Because those kids are probably not going to grow up with a mom and dad present. They're going to be at their mom's, and then they're going to be at their dad's, and their dad's going to have another girlfriend, or maybe he gets married later on, but it's not to the mom, and the mom's going to, be single, and that's where some of that, I think, feminism, the feminist movement comes in, and is like, well, you're a strong, independent woman. You don't need a man. You can do it all by yourself. You can raise your kids. You can make money. You can do everything. And I'm not in support of that. I'm in support of femininity, being feminine, and being who God called a woman to be. And I'm not saying that a woman can't go and work and make money. And I'm not saying that independence in a woman's life is wrong. But it is skewed in the feminist movement. And it has damaged the family. Women, we need men. Especially if we have kids. Especially if we have kids. And not because I don't think that women could raise a child on their own. I'm sure there's women out there that have had to, and I understand that. But men and women both have roles that are so important in raising a family, and they're both needed. And a woman cannot do both roles, and a man cannot do both roles. They can to an extent, but it's not going to be how it needs to be. And I've been seeing it a lot in my generation, social media, you see, you post, whatever. And I my heart breaks because so many people are starting families and they are not married. And there's no foundation. They're going to raise their kids with an unsteady foundation. And can they make it work? And can it be okay? Yes, by God's grace, it can be. But let's normalize. Let's normalize or re-normalize. It used to be normal once upon a time. But let's re-normalize waiting, saving yourself to have sex until after you're married. Save yourself for somebody that will respect that and that will understand that how important that is. Let's re-normalize not having sex before marriage. Let's re-normalize getting married, being committed, being in a covenant with another person and not using divorce as this easy cop-out. I understand in some situations, a divorce, it has to happen. I understand that. But it shouldn't be so easy to decide that. It shouldn't be. And let's unnormalize acting like we're married and doing all the things married people do without actually being married. Because at the end of the day, and I'm going to preach, I guess. I've probably been preaching this whole time. And I'm not preach. I mean, I don't preach. I'm not a woman that preaches. But I'm just going to say this bit. And anyways, having sex before marriage is a sin. Living together before marriage, technically not a sin, but if you're living together, what are you probably doing together? You're sleeping together, so you're probably having sex, okay? If that's the elephant in the room, I just exposed it, because these things need to be talked about, and they're not, and they're overlooked. But at the end of the day, sex before marriage is a sin. And if you were maybe not a Christian and you had sexual relationships prior to being a Christian, but now the Lord dwells in your heart, He forgives, and He has forgiven you of that. And He will forgive you if you are someone that has that lifestyle and you want to make a change. Because if you don't, God is coming back. And all of those things that we have made common, where we've normalized living together, sex before marriage, having kids before marriage, divorce, all of those things, those are sins against God. We are offending Him when we do those things. And it's more and more common in today's world and society. But Jesus, God's Son, Jesus Christ, if you've never heard or know who He is, He came to the world and He lived a perfect life. And He died. He sacrificed Himself for me and for you. And I have sins upon sins upon sins. And I continue to sin. But I continue to go to Christ and ask Him for His forgiveness. And you can too. And He will forgive you. I don't really know how to end this, but that's all I got, I think.